I had a number of people send me this story, and I'm going to just be real with y'all, and I'll be concise about this. I was conflicted about doing this because the people who caused the death of this child in this story are actually minors. And almost every time, if it involves a minor doing a crime, I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not here to rail against minors and the youth, even though there can be some learning lessons in there sometimes. But more times than none, those are just going to be a flat out skip for me. But there's also the story that I want to tell you guys about how the mothers, the women in this story were negligent. But also, I'm going to tell you guys two things. First of all, where I understand kind of what they did, and then where I think they actually got in trouble. So I think you guys will find my take on this pretty interesting. So let me give you a disclaimer, and then let's get started. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And one of my favorite states to visit, just so you guys know, is Louisiana. And Louisiana, y'all gonna have to take the L. The Buddha's gonna have to take the L. We're gonna talk about all of these screenshots, which are quite disgusting, but we'll get to that here in a moment. So getting the story from Law and Crime. Why? Because they are the best at what they do. Thank you, Law and Crime, for this article. 2 women and 2 boys in Louisiana have been arrested. That's 4 total people, 4 black lives, with the brutal killing of a 3-year-old girl that would make 5 black lives, who authorities said was beaten to death by the 2 younger suspects who were ages 10 years old and 12 years old, while adults were at a local casino. That's a lot to unpack right there, but let me go ahead and keep telling you the story, and then I will get into my opinion about it. Terica Scott, who's 26 years old, and Denisha Yates, who's also 26, were taken into custody Friday and Saturday, respectively, and charged with 1 count each of principal to simple battery and principal to second-degree murder in the death of a little girl by the name of 3-year-old Blessing Buckles. That's her name. And she's a beautiful little angel, too. Let me see if I can show you guys a bigger picture of her. I think that was one of them. Right there. Beautiful little angel. And I think this is her also. I found this one a little bit late while I was researching. She's a beautiful little girl. Why would anybody want to hurt her? 3 years old. Don't care what age. There's just nothing a 3-year-old could do to enrage a human being. And that's why I say I got to parse my words, because we're talking about kids that cause this from being left alone by the parents. The 2 juveniles were also arrested and charged with 1 count each of battery and second-degree murder. According to a news release from the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office, deputies at about 3:45 p.m. on Monday responded to a call regarding an unresponsive 3-year-old girl at a home on 3300 block of O'Neill Lane. The caller identified themselves as a child and told emergency dispatchers that there were no adults in the home. Arriving at the scene, first responders say that they observed Scott, who authorities identified as the mother of the 10-year-old suspect and the aunt of the 12-year-old suspect, and Yates identified the mother of the 3-year-old victim, pulling into the driveway of the residence with their hazard lights on. Upon making contact with the police, both women say that they had left the children in the home alone while they were at the casino. I want to get some answers from the people in the chat. Have you guys, let's just say in this situation, 10 years old and 12 years old respectively, can y'all leave y'all children at home alone with them being that age? Is that an appropriate age, or are they too young? What do y'all think about that? Because I'll give you my thoughts. The ages of the children in the home ranged from 11 months old to 12 years old. So there was another baby there. Okay, now see, that extra information right there. 3 years old is very, very questionable. 11 months old, no excuse for that. Emergency medical personnel were able to resuscitate the 3-year-old victim before transporting her to a hospital for treatment where she was admitted in critical condition, and I wish she would have survived, but unfortunately, Blessing succumbed to her injuries and was pronounced dead on Wednesday, February 14th, on Valentine's Day. So let me say that again. Emergency personnel, they were able to resuscitate her, and I wish she would have survived, but she succumbed to her injuries, and she died on Valentine's Day. The medical staff at the hospital were informed authorities that Blessing had suffered a brain bleed as well as bruising to the face and body, which were likely caused from blunt force trauma. She was beat to death. She was beat up. In police interviews, the two women said that they were regularly. Let me say this slower. In police interviews, the two women said that they regularly left the 8 children in the home without supervision. I just don't think that you can be that effing dumb. Let me backtrack because I have some people that might get pissed off about what I'm about to say. So let me preface what I'm going to say before I actually give my real thoughts. First of all, I want y'all to remember that I am an advocate for children. That's what the AFC podcast stands for. We advocate for children first. We want parents and people to do right by children. We want them to love them, protect them, provide for them, take care of them. And you need to have proper supervision and food and finances for them. I don't think that's too much to ask. So when I say that, you would have to ask between these two these two mothers, these two black queens, or is it like this? Black power. Black lives matter, right? These two black queens. 8 children between the two of them, whether it be 3 and 5, 4 and 4, however you want to split it up, 6 and 2, that's too many kids at 26 years old, however you slice it. If you ask me, if you got that many kids in your young 20s, early 20s, all you are doing is having sex with no protection, no condoms. And what y'all want to bet that these kids got multiple baby daddies, multiple dads, multiple men, multiple DNA counts? That's freaking disgusting. And I'm trying my best not to cuss. Y'all see I'm struggling. Like, I want to cuss so goddamn bad, but I'm trying not to. On top of that, here's why I believe they actually got arrested. First of all, let me say this. Initially, I was thinking, when I first read this, because I didn't read it all the way through, I'm going to just be real, and I thought about it and I said, when I was 10, 12 years old, I was the oldest in the house, 12 years old, that would make my brother 10, that would have made my sister 8 years old. Were there times when we were able to stay at home by ourselves? It took a long time because we usually always had a proper babysitter. But yes, there were times when our parents would try to trust us with some responsibility to leave us at home and be responsible. Now, the question is were we responsible? I will probably be real honest with y'all and say about 50% of the time, and my brother and my sister can attest, if they're watching, they can typey in the chat and tell you that Just Jay ain't lying. I'd say about 50% of the time we were responsible. The other 50% of the time, we were at each other's necks like we didn't know each other. Let me say that again. We were at each other's necks as if we didn't know each other. My dad talked about one time when me and my brother got into it. And it was pretty bad because my brother was always trying to challenge my authority and challenge me because I'm the big brother and I was a little bit bigger than him at the time. And we truly, truly, truly got into it. And I truly, truly had to show him who the big brother was. My dad came home to havoc and chaos. I'm not going to tell some of the details, but I'm going to just tell y'all it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Me and my brother, I can safely say, absolutely hated each other. Until later in life, we got better. It ain't always been perfect, but the more time we spent apart, the better we got. But I can understand how things can go awry quickly when you leave kids at home by themselves. Shit happens. But with 8 kids, that means you have an 11-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 3-year-old, an 11-month-old. That's only 4. So what were the ages of the other 4 kids? How do you expect that many kids in that small-ass house, in their words, on regular occasions to be left at home? And they're supposed to be able to properly process that? I thought it was just 3 people in the house. There's a whole nother 5 more. That makes this worse. And on top of that, I just don't think you could be this level of dumb to not understand that anything that you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. And these dumb broads turn around and told them, yes, we do this on a regular basis, massa. Yes, massa. We do this all the time. We go gambling all the time and leave these babies at home by themselves to fend for themselves all the time on a regular basis. Thank you. That's insane. Leaving them at home regularly without supervision while they went to go gamble at the casino the 2 weeks that Yates and her children had been staying with Scott and her family. Oh my God. So it sounds like one of these women had the majority of those kids. That's disgusting. Yates and Scott are reportedly friends and they are not related. Just Tweedledee and Tweedledum. According to a report from the Baton Rouge CBS affiliate WAFB, Scott allegedly told police that she was aware that her 12-year-old, and I want y'all to hear this. This is how freaking stupid they are. She was aware that her 12-year-old nephew was violent with the other kids. To go gambling is wild. I absolutely 100% agree with you. And she knows that the 12-year-old was violent with the other kids, specifically noting that he had previously beaten and bruised at least one of her daughters. God, I want to say he hits women, but he's still technically a very young child. He's 12. But that's not a good trajectory for his life, if you understand what I'm saying, without me trying to disparage children. I'm sorry, but that's why I also partially didn't want to do this story. However, Scott reportedly ignored her children's pleas for help. A case like this is devastating. My heart breaks for this child lost too soon, and I pray for the others involved. Both Yates and Scott have previous criminal records. We're going to talk about those screenshots here in a minute. According to WBRZ, Yates was arrested for stealing clothing from a Walmart and personal items from a home in 2017. In 2020, she also reportedly threw a brick through the windshield of another woman's car. What do you want to bet that had to do with somebody that they was having sex with, unprotected sex with, over some dude that didn't want either one of their asses? Huh? Scott, in 2021, was charged with murder but not indicted by a grand jury. That sounds like Louisiana for you. Y'all remember New Orleans used to be the murder capital of the world, so a lot of this was real prevalent behavior. How do you get not indicted for murder by a grand jury? She was also charged with arson last year. The current status of the latter case was not immediately clear as of Monday. I want y'all to think about this. What level of stupid is this? If you are so broke that you got to steal from Walmart, then why in God's green earth are you making more and more and more and more children? Knowing that you can't afford to take care of one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, not seven, but 8 kids, and both of these broads are broke, and you're going and gambling at the casino. You just can't be this fucking dumb. Sorry, I had to say it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Y'all do me a favor, if you're listening, please hit that thumbs up and share this video. This is exactly why I was just like, I got so many conflicting thoughts about this because I almost understood older children babysitting, but this is just way, way overboard. And they did this on a regular basis.
We have new details from Baton Rouge where at least 3 people are facing charges after deputies say a toddler was beaten to death. The East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office says Tarika Scott, a 12-year-old, and a 10-year-old are all facing murder charges. Scott is the mother of one of those young suspects, and we're told this all unfolded last Monday when that toddler and a group of kids were left home alone. Investigators say Scott repeatedly admitting knowing one of the juvenile suspects was violent. She was booked for principal to battery and principal to second-degree murder.
You may have just gotten this alert from the 9 News app. This mother and 2 boys are facing charges in the beating death of a 3-year-old girl. The East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office says 8 children ranging from 11 months to 12 years old were left alone in a home when emergency responders found a 3-year-old unresponsive. That child was rushed to the hospital with bruises and cuts and later died. Detectives say a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old are now charged with simple battery and second-degree murder. Now, the mother who you see here, her name is Tarika Scott. She's also the aunt of one of the suspects, too. She was also charged with desertion because she admitted, according to investigators, that she recently left the casino. Detectives say Scott also admitted that she knew about the suspect's violent behavior, leading to additional charges of principal to second-degree murder. The sheriff's office says another arrest is coming.
To be honest, this kind of reminds me of like a crackhead story. You know how a crackhead will use and steal from anybody and everybody in order to get funding to go fund their nasty little habits like alcoholics do. And I've even heard of people describe people who gamble as gambling can be a disease, like an uncontrollable disease. But they were willing to steal from Walmart, steal stuff in order to have money, in order to have funding to go gamble, since they do this on a regular basis. So I think that fits right in with this narrative. They're throwing brick through people's cars, which costs money. Somebody else is going to have to come out of money. They're all are probably broke. So you're basically making broke people more broke. It's funny how that works. Let me show y'all these screenshots. And I'm going to tell y'all, this is going to be the nail in the coffin, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it. Let's look at this. Denisha Yates wrote this on her Facebook. She said, and I want y'all to think about how loving this sounds when she's speaking about this dead 3-year-old baby. A little beautiful black princess. Blessing Buckles. This is how she talked about her on her public Facebook before she was arrested, and she said, if y'all want to come to the funeral, let me know. I don't have time for nothing else. How loving does that sound? Let's talk about another screenshot, because I actually highlighted this one. Some of y'all probably already saw this. This is from the other individual. She said, and I quote, and this is back on November 6th of last year. She said, I own, which means I don't. I don't know why. I own, do all that babysitting shit. TT live a fast life, baby called grandma, and she laughed. These are parents. So what she said was screw the kids, leave them at home by themselves so we can go gamble. And probably they was up there looking for men too. I think somebody in the chat called that out. That was probably their way of trying to get men. I want y'all to look at this. She also wrote 4 days ago, my baby funeral, March 1st, 10, a.m., Winfield Funeral Home. How caring does that look? It looks like she's posting about a dog, like a dead fish or something. I got a couple more screenshots here I want to show you guys. When I make these accusations and say that these people were highly, highly sexually motivated, which is why they have all these freaking kids. Denisha Yates in 2016 was talking like this. She wrote on her Facebook, y'all can go look it up. Her Facebook is still up. She wrote, let's make some babies and make it official. I feel you inside. On August the 11th, the day after my birthday, August the 11th, she put that P-U-S-S-Y on him. He don't want to F-U-C-K, nobody else but me. She also wrote, I wish this little boy go to sleep. He effing with everything. I don't know what that means. I'm not going to even bother. I'm not going to even bother to try. Again, she wrote this. These are all different posts. She wrote, P-U-S-S, so good, be having him saying all kind of freaky stuff in my ear. She wrote on a different day, I'm floating off them tabs, feeling great. So she's a pill popper. Illegal medications, getting high. She wrote at the very bottom, it says, I've been floating all day, finna throw something. But I'm assuming that means she been high all day, not doing nothing with her life. Last screenshot. She wrote on August 27th and said, let me slip and go back to jail. Watch how many B's, B-I-T-C-H's, he have sex with. One track mind. Y'all go and look at both of their Facebook pages. It is just full of just ridiculous stuff. To this young princess, R.I.P. Blessing Buckles, Princess R.I.P. I think that these women are just flat out ridiculous. I don't think they should ever be mothers, never be given another opportunity to be mothers. And I think they should be in jail so long that their ovaries dry up. Hashtag TTO. They don't deserve ovaries, reproductive rights. They should never be around children again, nor any of these children again. To those other children that caused this murder and this death, what's the trajectory of their life? It's not looking positive, but they're still technically children. They need leaders, and they needed fathers and proper families. But this is the type of madness that happens when you just flat out don't give a crap. and you shun your nose at having fathers and having nuclear families and things like that. Why do people say nuclear? I always thought that was weird. Y'all remember when Bush said nuclear? It's not nuclear, it's nuclear. I want to strangle people who say that. It's nuclear. The nuclear family, mothers and fathers in the household, it matters. And this is yet another example. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, okay? Thank you.